In the bustling heart of Quiapo, Manila, where the streets never seem to sleep and life moves like a constant river of noise, a young man named Rico de la Peña stands at his usual spot near the church's stone archway. His guitar is old, its wooden body scratched, its strings mismatched, some silver, some copper, but he holds it with a kind of reverence, like it's the last precious thing he has left from a life that hasn't always been kind. Rico begins to play, his fingers moving with surprising gentleness. Then he sings, and the moment his voice fills the air, the world around him seems to slow down. Vendors selling sampaguita pause mid-call. Jeepneys roaring past quiet their engines. Children chasing each other suddenly stop, drawn by a sound so rich, so deep, so hauntingly familiar. It's a voice reminiscent of Elvis Presley, yet not a copy. Rico's tone carries his own pain, warmth, and sincerity. Every note comes from somewhere deeper than the throat. To Rico, this isn't a performance. It's a remembrance. His late father, an OFW who returned home sick, used to play Elvis vinyls in their small apartment. Rico learned to sing those songs not to impress anyone but to stay connected to the man who taught him music, love, and hope. Singing Elvis is like talking to his father again. As he finishes his rendition of "Love Me Tender," a woman in a production badge stands frozen at the edge of the crowd. She's from AGT Manila 2025, scouting talent for the upcoming season. But she wasn't scouting today, she was simply passing by when she heard that voice. She approaches Rico slowly, almost breathless, holding out an audition flyer. "Your voice, you need to be on that stage." Rico looks at the paper, unsure, overwhelmed. Could a street performer really belong on the biggest stage in Manila? The morning of the audition arrives faster than Rico ever expected. He stands backstage at AGT Manila 2025, clutching his weathered guitar so tightly his knuckles turn white. Around him, the atmosphere buzzes with excitement. Performers in glittering costumes rehearse last-minute choreography. Singers practice vocal warm-ups with perfect confidence. A magician tosses cards into the air, catching them effortlessly. Compared to them, Rico feels like a shadow trying to stand in a room full of neon lights. His clothes are simple, clean but worn. His shoes, slightly frayed at the edges, squeak against the polished floor. Every now and then, he wipes his palms on his pants, trying to stop the trembling. He keeps asking himself, "What am I doing here?" He hears a contestant bragging nearby, "I've performed in 5 TV shows already." Another laughs proudly, "My coach said I'm ready for international competitions." Rico lowers his head. He has no coach, no fame, no formal training. He only has his father's voice echoing in his memory. "Anik, when you sing, sing with your heart. That's worth more than any lesson." When a staff member calls, "Rico de la Peña, you're next," his heart drops into his stomach. He steps onto the stage, the bright lights almost blinding him. The judges panel comes into focus. Simon Cowell, 2 local Filipino judges, and a guest icon. He can feel their eyes analyze him in an instant. His simple attire, his nervous stance, he looks like a long shot. "What will you be performing?" Simon asks, leaning back casually. Rico swallows hard. "An Elvis song, sir." A faint murmur ripples through the audience. People smile skeptically. Elvis songs are common. Many fail trying. Simon's eyebrow lifts slightly, as if silently challenging him. Rico grips his guitar. This is the moment that will decide everything. The stage is silent except for the soft hum of Rico's old guitar as he gently strums the first chord. His fingers shake slightly, but the sound that emerges is warm, nostalgic, almost timeless. He closes his eyes, inhales deeply, and begins to sing, "Can't Help Falling in Love." The first note echoes across the auditorium, and everything changes. A collective gasp ripples through the crowd. Conversations stop mid-sentence. Phones poised to record suddenly lock in place. It's as if the air itself freezes, holding its breath. Rico's voice, deep, rich, velvety, flows through the hall with a soulful sincerity that feels like a direct echo of a bygone era. It carries the unmistakable warmth of Elvis Presley, yet has a uniquely Filipino tenderness, a gentle ache that makes the familiar song feel new again. The judges react instantly. The guest Filipino judge leans forward, eyes widening. The local diva judge places a hand over her heart. And Simon, known for his almost unshakable composure, raises his eyebrows in genuine surprise. Rico continues, finding strength in every lyric. With each line, his confidence grows. He sings not to impress, but to connect, to let his father hear him from wherever he is. The entire room feels it. The emotion, the truth, the soul. Audience members begin standing, not because they were told to, but because they can't help it. Some record with trembling hands. Others wipe tears they didn't expect to shed. By the time Rico reaches the final haunting line, "I can't help falling in love with you," the audience erupts. A thunderous standing ovation shakes the hall. People cheer, whistle, cry. Rico opens his eyes, stunned. He sees hundreds of people on their feet, and the judges still staring at him like they've just witnessed something unreal. For the first time in his life, Rico realizes, this might be the moment that changes everything. As the applause finally begins to settle, Rico stands frozen in the center of the stage. His chest rises and falls rapidly, as if he's afraid to breathe too loudly and break the moment. The judges look at him with an expression he never imagined they would, astonishment mixed with deep respect. Simon Cowell lifts his hand to silence the room. The crowd quiets instantly. His gaze stays fixed on Rico, thoughtful, almost gentle, something rare for the famously blunt judge. "Rico," Simon begins, his voice lower than usual, "I'm going to be honest. When you walked out here, I didn't expect much." A ripple of laughter moves through the audience, but Simon continues before it grows. "But then you sang, and what we heard wasn't just good. It was soul, it was truth." Rico feels his throat tighten. His hands shake around his guitar, not out of fear now, but disbelief. The Filipino judge beside Simon adds, "Your voice, my gosh, it brought me back to the old vinyl days." But at the same time, it was you, Rico. Not an imitation, a heart speaking through a legend's sound. The diva judge wipes the corner of her eye. "I felt your pain, your love, your story." Every note had meaning. Rico's lips part as if to speak, but no words come. His emotions build too quickly: gratitude, relief, remembrance of his father who never saw him on a real stage. Simon leans forward slightly, his tone softening even more. "I've heard thousands of Elvis covers, but I've never heard anyone bring back the spirit of Elvis the way you just did, while still sounding completely like yourself. That is incredibly rare." The audience murmurs in agreement, some cheering again. Rico's eyes shine with tears. For the first time, he feels seen, not as a street performer, but as an artist. Rico stands on stage, trembling, not from fear this time, but from the overwhelming wave of emotion washing over him. The judges have just given him praise he never imagined he would hear in his lifetime. The audience is still buzzing, some still wiping their eyes, some still standing. Rico feels like he's floating, suspended in a dream he's terrified to wake from. Simon looks down at his desk, tapping his finger thoughtfully. The hall grows quiet again, sensing something unusual. The air feels electric, charged with anticipation. "Well," Simon says slowly, "normally, this is the part where we vote." He glances at the other judges. The audience waits. Then Simon stands up. The crowd gasps. "I don't think we need to vote," he continues, shaking his head lightly. "In fact, I want to do something else." Before Rico can process the words, Simon reaches forward and slams his palm down on the golden buzzer. The hall explodes. A burst of golden confetti shoots into the air, shimmering as it rains down around Rico like a blessing from the heavens. He drops to his knees in shock, clutching his guitar as tears stream uncontrollably down his face. The music swells through the speakers, drowning out the roaring cheers. Rico whispers into his trembling hands, "Papa, para sa'yo, too." A camera zooms in, capturing the raw, heartbreaking sincerity in his voice. The judges stand. The audience chants his name. "Rico, Rico, Rico." Simon smiles warmly, almost father-like. "That," he says into the mic, "is why this show exists. To find voices like yours." Rico looks up, bathed in golden light, confetti sticking to his hair and clothes. For the first time in his life, he isn't a street performer struggling to survive. He is a star, and the whole world is finally listening.